let's quickly go over the new Conquest mode here in Guardian Tales. I think this is actually really cool. The thing that it reminds me of, if you guys ever played Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, it's light side territory wars, and then they would also do dark side territory wars, and you progress through the map here by beating nodes, and then as you beat nodes, you get extra effects, and that's going to allow you to beat other nodes easier, like the harder nodes easier, because you've invested in beating these other nodes. And then as you progress through the map, you're going to get more rewards the more map you conquest through. So I think this is really cool, but it's taking new elements, but then also applying old elements from the raid. The skills that you've developed from raiding still apply here. So let's kind of break this down. So you start in stage 1, and as you can see, it's kind of like lighter up here, and then it's darker here because this is stage 2. We unlock stage 2 after beating the boss, and you can look at the bosses here. The first boss is Miss Chrome, so she's dead. But what I liked what they did with the bosses, that the bosses are actually normal characters, but it's different than the raids. In the raids, they don't use these bosses. They use the typical bosses that are in this mini bosses. So I like that a lot. Because it kind of adds something new to this. And then the boss mechanics are actually way different. They'll have enemies in there, and it's way different than what you would normally expect from the raids. Whereas these typical things you would expect from raids are in the mini bosses here, and the mini bosses are in these little chests. So for example, there's these chests here, there's 3 of them there, and then these chests here, there's 4 of them. And then when you kill them, you get effects. So when you kill this boss in stage 1, minus 500 defense. And then that applies to all the bosses. And then the bosses are a little easier on the top, like the north side, and then on the south side they're a little harder. So you get a bigger effect. So you see 30 million health on that Shadow Beast versus only 24 million on all the bosses here. And that applies to everything. It's always the north side's a little easier, and then the south side's a little harder. And then there's other effects here too that I think make a big difference. Are going to be capturing these kind of, they look like a kind of like a loudspeaker. They look like a loudspeaker, and when you beat them, it lowers the level of the bosses in that stage. So by in stage 1 by 2, and then it looks like that's the only one here, and there's 2 of them on stage 2, so you could get a reduction in 4. And then lastly, why we don't go for these trucks is because they don't give you any direct effects in being able to beat this stage. So you see, conquest effect is nothing. So because there's no conquest effect, we're going to save those for the end, but you do get rewards here. In the conquest reward, you get 10 coffee. And at the end, when we are either finish the entire conquest, if we can, I don't know if our guild can, but if we can, then we'll go back and complete it. Or we realize that there's no way we can beat the final boss or whatever. So we're going to go back and might as well just pick up all this extra coffee for everyone. And that concept is going to apply for each stage. So then we have the boss here, Miss Chrome, and then once we beat her, then that unlocks stage 2. And the bosses are super hard, and it's tough to deal damage to them unless you beat these other nodes before them. So right now what we're doing is we haven't fought Elvira yet, but we need to be able to beat these bosses, because once you beat the bosses, then the stage 2 defense is going to reduce to a point where it's actually doable realistically. So we beat this boss here, then we need to beat 2 more here, and then 2 more here, to be able to actually get the full defense reduction. And then once we get that, then we're going to face this boss here. And the boss mechanics are a little different than what you would expect. I'm just going to jump into this really quick. I'm not going to actually fight it, but I just want you to see what I mean by that. It's not just the boss. See how there's all these other minions around, and you have to actually kill these other things. Normally when it comes to these bosses, you don't have to do that. You're going to be taking in a DPS team, so you'll be able to kill them really quickly, and then as the defense goes down, you're actually going to be able to damage these things. So then once you kill these guys, then you can actually like really focus down on the boss here. But as you can see, yeah, it not doing much damage yet. There's a lot of defense to reduce before you can realistically actually do damage. And obviously you wouldn't take this team in if you were trying to do damage anyway, but just something to keep in mind when it comes to this. And then also these bosses hit actually decently hard. So a lot of times, like for example, this boss, notice how everyone in the dark team took Agma. That's not normally the case at all. When it comes to the dark team, you'd be taking someone else like Lupina or Yuze instead of Agma. So you need that actually tankiness. So this team, water team, might need to take another tanky character here to synergize with your water team to actually, not die in these matchups, where you usually don't have to realize that, like, or don't even have to worry about it. Because like in Archfiend, for example, water team, I can just tank anything that he throws at me, even at level 83, and it's totally fine. Whereas this boss, like you'll just melt if you take a normal, like really squishy raid team. So that's one thing to keep in mind about this, which I like. It's a little extra challenge, but at the same time, it's fun fun and engaging kind of thing. And I'm glad that they made it different enough, because my big worry was that they were just redesigning like the raids. Whereas what they ended up doing is they made the raids relevant, and all the knowledge you have from the raids actually matters, all the team comps and stuff like that, what you learn there, but they're side missions, like they're little side bosses. And then the main boss for everyone is this new version of content, which I really like. And then here's the round rewards. So when it comes to these supply trucks, these are going to be the best rewards for sure, because when you get occupation count and see, this is where all the gems are, but they're not directly helping you advance. So that's why we're saving them for later. You definitely want to get the supply trucks, because you get 100 of these, and then you get 7 of these battle medals. So a ton of battle medals to grab here. Then there's only 3 of these control towers. The control towers are the bosses, or I believe the command headquarters of the boss, but then these control towers are these guys right here. So we've only gotten 1. So that's why we have our rewards currently are 100 gems, but we're going to beat the other 2 control towers. And then the final command headquarters is going to be really hard to beat, because if you look at the boss info, Elvira, I'll just say Elvira has 150 million. I can't click on it, but then you look at Arabelle, she has 450 million, and it's going to be harder and going to do more damage. Then the last one that you can't see here, but we just know from people from the Korean server, you get 900 million health is on this version of Elvira. So this is going to be absolutely crazy. So maybe we could beat it. I don't know. Round 1 will end here in 5 days and 13 hours. I believe it's 2 weeks each time. So let me back out. I believe it's 2 weeks each time, because we'll have another week after this to get to round 2. Yep. So 21st, so 9, 12 days, or well, 31st, 10. Yeah, okay, so it is 2 weeks essentially. That's pretty much it for when it comes to like the first look at Conquest here. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Conquest. Are you actually enjoying this game mode? Also, I do want to say, when it comes to joining a guild, we do have ways on the Discord to be able to join a guild. There's a guild recruitment page there. On the official Discord, there's also guild recruitments. I'm not saying mine's the only one, but we actually have an option for that. So if you guys are looking for getting into a guild, might be a little late for this, but at the same time, I think this is a really fun game mode. And that in combination with the rating, then in combination with being able to talk with people that are actually passionate about the game and like on your level when it comes to where you're at in the game, I think that's it's definitely made my experience a lot better. Like me, once I joined the legendary guild, like my guild, that's just the name of it, I've definitely had a lot more fun with the game, because we have an extra Discord, we get to talk with people that are trying to figure stuff out, learned a lot about the game. I definitely wouldn't be nearly as good as I am at this game without this guild. So it's definitely made the game a lot more fun for me. So definitely join a guild if you're going to be playing this game anywhere remotely seriously. Strongly consider getting in one that's actually organized and actually cares, because there's a lot of benefits besides just the actual rewards of it, but just the amount of fun you can have with this game, I think is a lot better with a guild. And especially now that they're actually caring about other guild events besides just raid over and over. I felt like even with the raiding, they did a good job of, yes, you have to do it every day, but you can sit there and practice on the guild raid and actually play that content all day if you wanted to and get better at it and try new strategies. Or you can just spend 3 minutes or 5 minutes a day and make sure you get your attempts. And I think that's a good balance. A lot of these games feel really tedious when it comes to their guild expectations. And it's like, okay, you got to get in, you got to do all these things. Like I just remember in Exos Heroes, it was so tedious to do all of my guild stuff. Like it wasn't fun, it wasn't engaging. It was just more of like a chore of just signing in. Whereas in this game, I legitimately enjoy doing the raids. But if I don't have much time that day, or if I just need to quickly get it in, I can, because the matches are only a minute long, and I can do 3 1-minute matches, and it's not too bad. You can just get it in. But it's one of those things where you can't miss a day, kind of thing. But at the same time, I think that's a pretty nice way to do guild requirements. And then they go on break for a bit, so you're not sitting there all the time every day, have to be on the phone. It's like you have your 2 weeks and then it's gone for a while, or it's this really the mine excavation thing. Like it's just like really small. It's like a small little fun thing that it's still good reward, so it's worth doing. But that's another thing that you can do in 30 seconds to a minute maybe. So you're required to contribute, but it's really small things versus all every day, all the time, 20-30 minutes. A lot of games do that, and it's really frustrating. So I think joining a guild is really good. That's just kind of my thoughts on being in a competitive guild experience. So use the tools that you guys have available if you guys are looking for a guild. don't miss out on the Guild Conquest beta. It's a lot of fun so far. And with that, guys, I am out. Peace.